So here is the final segment of my podcast, the movie question portion. Today's question is, how can Marvel films improve? This is more focusing on the solo films and less on the team films. So I'm not going to be talking about Avengers Age of Ultron, and pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy, even though it's more of a solo film and less of a big team, but whatever. So I love the films. I loved Ant-Man. Winter Soldier is fantastic, but people are saying that these films are getting they're getting some fatigue, and I kind of agree with where they're going from. I still enjoy these films a lot, and I think Ant-Man was a great film in its own right. Can it improve? Absolutely. So I have 3 ways that I think the movies could improve, and I hope they kind of do. So the number one, my go-to, and I think everyone's go-to if they were to address this question, and that is better villains. Loki and Ultron, those are the only good villains in this entire universe. Everyone else really just sucks. Now Thanos is not in this list because we really haven't seen much from him, but everyone else just lacks. It's so they're so not horribly done, but forgettable. So Marvel really needs to focus on making better villains like Loki, like Ultron, like Joker. So yeah, if you can make better villains in this film, then you can improve. So Civil War is a little different, and of course this is also a team one. But making Iron Man kind of being the villain, sort of. I guess it depends on what side you're on. Villain. Actually, I believe there's supposed to be a third party in that confronts them. But yeah, just figuring out a better way to make these villains, giving them more motive, and more reasons to care about the villain. I know that sounds strange, to care about a villain, but when you look at Loki's story, coming from being the brother of Thor, realizing Thor is not fit to be a king, wanting to be a king, and then realize, oh hey, by the way, Loki, you're actually not an Asgardian, you're a frost giant that we adopted and we haven't told you about that yet. Also, Thor is going to become king. Hope you like that. Goodbye. That there alone, you care for this villain in a sense. You understand sort of where he's coming from. His whole life has been a lie, and he feels like he needs to be a king, and then he gets to watch his stupid half-brother, or whatever you want to call him, who doesn't deserve the crown, become the king. Sort of. He doesn't actually, but he's on his way to becoming the king, and Loki hates that. That's the motive you need. Yeah, Ultron was more of a likable villain and less of a you care for him kind of villain, and actually I feel like he could have been done better because Loki's the best one that they have. But really, understanding the motive and caring for the villain, that's really what you need to go for with these villains. My second improvement that I think Ant-Man did really well, and that is lowering the risk of the film, or of the threat. Ant-Man was a heist movie in general, so the risk really wasn't that big. It was more Hydra getting this equipment of this shrinking suit, and that was the biggest threat. Unlike Winter Soldier, where there are 3 ships floating above the sky that are literally targeting the heads of every threat known to man and are going to take them out unless Captain America can put a floppy disk into a slot. That's a huge risk. And the problem with this risk is that this universe is so expansive, and when you can call the Avengers and yet you decide not to, really? And I'm not really nitpicking on Winter Soldier because I get it from a story standpoint. Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra, so Captain America doesn't know who to rely on. So I get it in a sense that, yeah, drastic times, he can't really call Iron Man because maybe he doesn't have the right connections to do that, and he doesn't want to, and he's hiding anyways. Excuse me. But I look at a film like Thor: The Dark World, where literally there are 7 worlds or whatever that are in danger of being destroyed. And so Thor has to take down this dark elf thing, and never once occurs to him, hey, maybe this would be easier if I don't know, called Bruce Banner up on the phone, or Tony Stark, or Captain America. I know from a movie standpoint, maybe you can't afford having Robert Downey Jr. show up in Thor: The Dark World. But then don't make the risk so huge that it feels like common sense to call them or someone for help and not just take it on by yourself. So if you lower the risk of the film, you remove like this urge for the movie audience and for people like me to be like, yeah, but why doesn't Thor call Iron Man? Oh, because it's an Asgardian threat only, so how is Iron Man going to show up there anyways when they're under pressure like this? That makes sense. So yeah, if you could smother the risk for the solo films and leave the huge risks, like a giant island crashing into the planet, basically being an asteroid that will wipe out civilization, leave that for an Avengers film and not for a Thor film. My third and my final point here is to mix up the genres of the films. Yes, I know they're all superhero films, but if you take a film like Iron Man and you take a film like Winter Soldier, those are two completely different genres. You have your your normal superhero film being Iron Man, and then you have this like spy thriller film being Winter Soldier, and a superhero just happens to be the spy. Or Ant-Man being a heist film instead of a superhero film. It's not about Ant-Man versus the Hornet, no, Stingray, Yellow Jacket, yeah. It's about him breaking in and stopping this production from happening. So basically, if you really want to wrap it up, what I'm trying to say here is that have these solo films be more like the Marvel Netflix series, Daredevil and Jessica Jones. I'm not finished with Jessica Jones. I love Daredevil. Daredevil does these three great. The risk is not huge, it's very small. Kingpin is a great villain, and there's one episode that focuses on his backstory, so you care for him and you kind of understand where he's coming from. And the genre is actually more of a court case and less of a superhero film, because Daredevil doesn't have these great powers, and Kingpin isn't this imposing force that's putting a gun to the Earth's head. Jessica Jones, on the other hand, that one's a little different because she doesn't really use her powers all that much. The villain, Kilgrave, is incredibly scary from a villain standpoint, and from what Marvel has done with these villains. Kilgrave is a huge step in the right direction, but in a very concerning direction from a character standpoint. Genre-wise, I'm not sure what to define it, because I'm not sure if I'm actually enjoying the series or not. I appreciate it for how original it's trying to be. Is it entertaining? I'm not quite sure yet. So yeah, basically, if the solo films are try to be similar to the Netflix series, then I will be totally okay with these films. Am I saying that the films that are out right now, do I hate those films? No, not at all. And I'm not really experiencing any superhero fatigue. I'm just trying, there's always room for improvement. And that's what I'm going for with this. It's just three simple little things that I feel like if the films use all three, I would enjoy these films better. I'm not a filmmaker, so I could be saying all the wrong stuff. This is just my opinion, and that's what it's, that's what we're all here for. As movie fans, we all have our own opinions, and all our opinions are right to us. And they might be wrong to some other people. But that's okay, because that's what movies are for. And also for entertainment and cool Star Wars stuff. Go Star Wars. So that wraps up my number one podcast, the Movie Fans Unite podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. Should I keep doing these? Should I stop right now? Should I do this in a video format? I don't think I should, though, because I don't think I could keep up, being on screen, for 50 minutes. I like actually just sitting here and talking to a mic, staring at a blank wall, and thinking of Star Wars. Enough Star Wars for this one. There's never enough. Anyways, this has been the Movie Fans Unite podcast. I'm your host, Manny. Hello from the moviegoer lobby. If you like this, share it, like it. Do you. This is the end of the first episode, and I will see you all later. Bye.